Hey everyone, Livy here, back with another video, back under the tree to do part 2 of my standout decks of 2023. Very excited. If you are watching this is the Oracle edition of this video. So I have a tarot one just for the tarot decks that stood out to me this year. And I also now am going to feature the Oracle decks. And the reason why I am is because I have to say, compared to 2022, 2021, any other year before this was the year I used oracles the most. Just is. I'm developing a new love for oracles this year. And there's a lot that I want to talk about. So I figured I have to divide this tag up into tarot and oracle. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. Yeah, so this is the space where I get to talk about my oracle decks now compared to my tarot decks. And I've got some good ones. So I'm going to start with an honorable mention. This is a deck that almost could have been in this top 5 space of standouts for this year, but didn't quite make the cut, mainly because of how often I read with it. I feel like if I had done more readings with it, it probably would have been bigger impact and made the top 5. But the deck that I want to honorably mention is the Earthbound Oracle. This is by, where is it? There we go, sorry. A. Al Schwartz or School Garden. This is a good one. I love this deck because it is a pocket oracle, okay? And there's 48 cards, so it's pretty good size for an oracle deck. But it's also really easy to use. It has great cardstock, by the way. I love this cardstock. There's something about it that's so good. These are the cards. These are the backs. They're kind of reversible, but they don't have reverse meanings because this deck is really interesting. There's no guidebook to this oracle, okay? No guidebook. You need to use your own intuition to understand the meaning of these cards. And I do understand this deck. I did a video where I talked a little bit about that, but I really understand this deck. It is really good. And the reading I did a couple readings with this deck. So it was like, they were profound. I think the only reason why I didn't make it into my top 5 sphere is because this is a deck where, because it's more intuition based, maybe it's because I wasn't asking the right questions, but this is better as a support in a deck than being its own oracle reading on its own. And the reason I say that is because the way I do oracle readings, I guess. Sometimes I'll pull 1 or 3 at a time and I'll get like an energy. And if you're just trying to find energy, like what energy should I embody, it doesn't have the right keywords to go with that. But this does work, the right keywords to have if you're going to do a general reading, if that makes sense. So this is definitely a deck where I want to use more next year. But yeah, it wasn't the standout for me just because, I don't know. The other decks I'm going to show just had a more profound impact. But this one is still really good, and I do recommend it if you like the style. So yeah, this was the Earthbound Oracle. Really good one. But it is my honorable mention. But let's talk about now deck number 5. It's in the 5th position of standouts for this year. Still a standout. Still really great. It was hard to pick, guys. It was really hard to pick like a number 5 spot. I'm like, what? But I think I did. Now, I'm going to technically cheat, and you'll see why it's technically cheating in a second, okay? But number 5 on my list of favorite oracles, standouts for this year, was the Citadel Oracle Special Edition. technically cheating because it does come with an extra deck, but I see these two very much together, and I wouldn't necessarily pick one over the other to do a reading. I kind of smash both of them together when I have done readings with them. So yes, this is the Citadel Fantasy Oracle Special Edition, Limited Special Edition. This is by Fez Ink Right, the same creator who did the Seed and Sickle Oracle. This is the inside box. It looks like this. Thick guidebook. The special edition, compared to the regular, because you can just buy this by itself without getting the special edition, comes with this beautiful blood red edging. And also, of course, includes this deck. This is smaller. This has like 60-something cards. This one only has 30. This is the deck of emblems. It also has its own guidebook in here. I'm just checking that none of the cards are still there. Magnetic closure on that one. These are these back, so they're different. And this one has the matte black edging. But I put these decks together. They're basically... I wouldn't just pull out one or the other. I think they work good together, and I have used them both together and half. The only reason why this... Oh, oops. Didn't realize they were so far down. The only reason why I would put these decks as... Oh, and it has copper foiling, which is like beautiful stuff. The only reason why these decks are number 5 on my standouts list, despite having probably one of the best production qualities of all the decks that you're going to see today for the oracles, is I need to do more readings with this deck for it to be more profound. Not to say I didn't do any, because I did do a few. But there were some oracles that you're going to see today that, case in point, I just used them more. I used them more than this one, so they had a more profound impact by the end of the year. But nonetheless, this deck is so good. If you are a fan of fantasy, if you are a fan of role-playing games, this is probably the oracle for you, by far. This is not normally a deck I would be attracted to. I'm not usually a fan of limited color palette, and I'm definitely not usually a fan of decks that are mostly white and, or in this case, kind of cream colored. But the art, the way it is, the keywords, I just get this deck. I get it so well, and I love it. And it goes with a lot of decks. In my other video, I showed the Dungeons and Dragons Tarot. This goes really good with the Dungeons and Dragons Tarot. Like, that is also one of my favorite pairs of this year. You know, it wasn't my favorite, but good stuff. It's good. They're just good in general. But I just need to use them. I would just need to use them more for it to be in a higher position, but it's still a standout for this year. And so because of that, I want to talk about it. And by the way, the shape on this deck is amazing for me. Maybe it's because I have smaller hands, but I can actually like grip it good like this. And it's really easy for me to like shuffle. So I don't know. It just works. This shape works for me. This might not work for everybody, but it does for me. So yeah, that was the Citadel Oracle Special Edition, and its second deck that I basically just see as a continuation of the deck, which is the deck of emblems. But now, as I put some stuff away on the side, I want to get into number 4 on this list. Okay. This one kind of snuck in during the last half of the year. But I gotta say, working with it, wow. Wow. I was very shocked how much I loved it, okay? And so my number 4 standout for 2023 has to be Thistledown. This is another deck by Stephanie Burrows and Adam Ohlers. They are also known as Three Trees Tarot, as it's shown here. They are the creators of the Oak, Ash, and Thorn and the Smoke, Ash, and Embers decks. This year, they finally came out with their first Oracle deck. And let me tell you, this deck is good. This is, dare I say, this might be my favorite out of all of them now. I thought I really loved the mini, because I have the mini version of the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. I thought that was going to be my favorite until this. This just hits. This just hits. Okay, these are the backs. And this is a good size for an Oracle. Okay, I have small hands. It actually fits in my hand, okay? You know how profound that is? Oracle decks are like massive. I always struggle and find myself like having half of them falling to the floor because it's just so freaking ridiculous, their size. But this is a great sized Oracle. And the cardstock, I love this cardstock. Not everybody's a fan, but I love the feel of this cardstock. I just love their cardstock, and it's slightly bendier than some of the other decks that they have produced. This is pretty much closer to being the mini Oak, Ash, and Thorn texture, except I don't know if this is slightly bendier or just slightly more not bendy. I don't know. Anyways, this deck is great. And this deck really hit home for me when I needed it. I used this deck profoundly during the month of November, and this was kind of the deck I needed to use. It had the right keywords. That's one of the pluses, by the way, of this deck. It has really great keywords that are just what you need to understand what the card is talking about. This was very good in also doing 3-card Oracle readings, which is what I do, which is basically just me saying, what energy do I need today? And I drew 3 at a time, and it told me exactly what I needed to hear. It's almost a hug deck in some ways, but at the same time, it's not completely hugging. Like it'll get you in the right moments. It's like a gentle jab in some ways. When you need to hear something profound, it will tell you. But I don't know. This just really worked for me. And the reason why I almost hesitated buying this deck. I wasn't sure if this was going to be right for me because I noticed this year while I love animal decks, I actually don't want a lot of animal decks. And so I was like, I don't know. Do I need this? But in using it, this works the best out of all of them for me so far. I really loved this deck. It was the standout for this year in that way. So it is number 4. The only reason why I think this deck isn't higher on my list of standouts for the year is because I got this deck too late. Like, it came later in the year. If I had been using this since the beginning of this year, this deck might even be in a higher placement. But because I got it when I did, it wouldn't make sense to put it higher on this list than some of the other decks that I'm going to show today. So this one's really good. Great keywords. I think this works for so many, So this is one of the standouts, and I'm so glad that I've decided to get it. So yeah, that is Thistledown. Okay, number 3 of standouts for this year. This was a hard choice, but I think it is this deck compared to the others. This is the Dream Symbol Oracle deck. This is by Copper Rabbit Illustrations. This is a Canadian creator. This deck is so cool. So freaking cool. And yes, guys, I know I'm still need to do a whole walkthrough because there's a lot I have to say about this deck, but I have not freaking done the walkthrough yet. It's just a lot of other things I also need to do walkthroughs of. This deck has, I think it says on the back, but it's like 50 cards, but it doesn't look it. Look it. This is such a great size deck. This cardstock is amazing. Whatever it is makes it despite having like 50 cards, you wouldn't be able to tell. It's so thin, but still thick feeling at the same time. It's so weird, but I love this cardstock too. I don't know. I'm deeply connected to it. These are the backs, which are like freaking awesome and like esoteric and very cool. And if the name didn't give it away, this is a dream oracle. This helps you unpack your dreams. It comes with a little booklet. It tells you what is an oracle reading, how to read the cards, deck tips, even that kind of stuff. But then where is it? Here. It also gives you like little keywords for each of the card associations, right? Like falling, flying, house, empty room, stuff like that. This is a deck for people who like doing dream work, I feel like. But if you don't, this might not be a deck for you. But basically, the creator took a lot of concepts found in dreams and turned it into an oracle. So it's not really a keyword. Each title on the card is like a different type of dream association, like roads, like flying in your dreams. Maybe you see owls in your dreams, or shoes, right? Items, soup, ink. Now, you could use this deck as a regular oracle. It does say you can, but I've used this the most personally to do dream work, okay? So the way I use this deck is I kind of treat it like an alethiometer. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever read the book, His Dark Materials series, what Lyra uses? I basically go through the deck and I find the things that kept popping up in my dream a lot. I pull them out, I leave it on the table for a second, and kind of go through, like I look through the meanings in the little pamphlets. I look through the meanings and I start to think about why I was maybe dreaming about that. What does it mean that there was a broadcast in my dream? Ew, this card creeps me out every time. This is the only thing I don't like about this deck, is that freaking card. And I start thinking, why did I do this? Why was I dreaming with this? Why was there a tower in my dream? I never had dreams about teeth falling out, but apparently that's a big thing. Or snakes, right? Pregnancy, why is that in my dream? Or a butterfly, it's just to think about those things. This deck is not 100%, like there's some things in this deck that I wish was in this deck, like that aren't dream concepts, I mean. But I use this basically to do dream work, but this deck was so profound and it helped me uncover quite a few dreams I had this year that were really, really bonkers. And for that reason, this had to be number 3 because I got it at a good time. So I used this deck for a good chunk of the year. And I just think this is so profound for me personally. So this was a dream symbol oracle deck. And yes, I still need to do a deeper walkthrough of this, but for now, hope you guys enjoyed seeing that. That's number 3. Number 2, very hard to choose. I don't know. I kind of went back and forth. And I decided that number 2 is this one. This is my mini, oops, sorry. It's like stuck here. This is my mini Roots and Wings Oracle deck. It comes with a little pamphlet like this because I got the mini and I also got, I should say, the Imperfect edition. So that means I think that my cards are a little rougher handled. I can tell they're like, the edges are not completely aligned. I don't know if the cardstock is the same. It's really thin and bendy though, but I like it personally. But yeah, I have the mini Roots and Wings. There's a full size too, but yeah, I have the mini. And I love the mini because again, I have smaller hands. And the reason why this deck was number 3 in my standouts for this year, I mean not 3, 2, is because this deck was so profound when I needed it to be. It has really good keywords. They are in this like cursive font and not everybody can read very well, but it says potential, release, bound, right? The divine. It's very good. This deck pairs well with a lot of others too. So the keywords are great, pairs well with others. And also, it's just a really profound reader. Like, this deck will awe you in the same moment that it terrifies you, because some of the things it gets at, or like gets to the root of, right, are really, really great. It's just, but it'll get you and you'll just feel something so deep and emotional, like this blind card. Oh, so good. Even this journey card, it just puts me in this, right? Like, it's very nature-based. This goes really good. I use this deck also this year to do readings for others. I use this with my Northern Animal Tarot to do readings for people, and it worked really well. It gave exactly the message that they needed to hear as a good, like, closeout to the reading. I put like 2 of these like as a almost like a sun and a moon in the initial reading. And then I did the garden spread, this one, for each person at the end to kind of summarize their reading and get to the root of the matter again. So yeah, this deck was so good. This could have easily been number first because I was also a great reader for others. But the other deck will make a lot of sense once I start talking about it. But this was by far one of my favorites. Standout. Love it, love it, love it. If you like nature-based decks or decks like this with the watercolor art and everything, I do recommend this if you can get it. These are these backs for the Imperfect edition. I've seen them with different colored backs before. I feel like this creator does that a lot. So yeah, just check that out if she still has it. But because it was Imperfect, I also got it for a steal of a price. I think it was only like $25 or something. But I don't think it's always like that. So it might have also been on sale. I'm not 100%. So don't quote me. But it was really good and such a profound reader. And I love it. So that is that. But finally, guys, we are getting to my number one choice. My number one standout for 2023. Deck I bought this year and also, you know, started using this year. And that for me was my Dirt Gems. Oh, this deck. So good. When I bought it, actually it arrived to me like this. It's like smashed slightly. Sad face. That's the only sad thing about this deck because it's really, really good. Oh, these are the bottoms of this. Really good. Okay, Dirt Gems Oracle has this beautiful metallic edging. It looks, this tree is hard to, you guys can kind of tell. It's like very brassy looking of a gold. These are the backs of this version. Maybe this is a second edition of this deck. I know Joniki over at Kettlemancy Tarot also has this deck, but I think she has an older edition, so the backs are different color. But this is when I bought it. They looked like this. Great cardstock too, by the way. It's just like really nice feeling. Yeah, anyways. Why was this my standout, guys? You're probably wondering why. Because this deck does something for an Oracle. This normally would not be at a higher place than my standouts because, as you can see here, this deck is numbered and it's just titled with what the flower or plant in this deck is. So normally you would see this and go, what? What? How am I supposed to intuitively read that? Well, the reason why this is a standout for me is because the images are intuitive. You can get vaguely the meaning of this card just by looking at the images. So they're very good in that way. But the other reason why this is a standout for me, I wish I had brought it. I'm not going to pause the camera to do it. But this deck because I have the indie version, by the way. I'm saying the indie version because I heard rumors that this deck is going to come out mass market. And so I hope it keeps that amazing guidebook. But the guidebook that comes with this version is so fucking good. I'm sorry, I have to, but it's so good. So good. So fucking good. It will sucker punch you, though, right in the fucking face. It's like exactly what you need to hear. It'll get you. But at the same time, it's like someone is hugging you as you cry. It's very much that kind of deck. It's very emotional and very deep. And a lot of the cards speak to healing. Especially like if you have a lot of trauma and a lot of like shit that's just happened to you in your life, this is the deck that I highly recommend because it's going to help you out. So this deck was just so good. I even did like, I used this in August the most. And I did a deep dive with this deck. I basically pulled like either 1 or 3 cards every single day during that whole month, I think. And I just sat with the messages. There were a lot of cards I got a lot. Like this card came up a few times. And I think this one even came up a few times. There's like a few cards that came up a lot. And that's because some of those messages from the cards I really needed to hear. But it was just so good. Like this one too. Oh my goodness, the Chaparral. It is such a good deck. But yeah, this one will get you. Like when you're not looking, like this Rosemary card. This is such a good one. If you have the guidebook, you know what I'm talking about. This is such a good one. It touched me right in the soul, and it really helped me out a lot. And for that reason, this deck had to be my number 1 standout of oracles. That guidebook is everything you want in an oracle deck guidebook. It literally, I kid you not, it's like a whole page just for one card. It's paragraph after paragraph after paragraph explaining not only the imagery on the cards, but the message that those cards and those plants have to teach you. I learned a lot. And for that too, this is the standout. Could not recommend this higher. Could not if you like this style of oracle deck. But yes. Wow. Amazing. Amazing decks. Amazing oracles. That's why I really needed to do a tarot and an oracle, because there was just so many good things in cardomancy this year. But yeah, this was one of the best. So if you were watching both of these videos, both the tarot and the oracle now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy these videos and enjoy seeing what I picked as my favorites. I'm really excited to see what will be my favorites going into next year, because I don't know if this is going to be more of a situation based on what came into my collection and just knowing that I want to definitely spend less next year on decks. I'm really curious to see if a lot of the new decks I got recently but haven't used yet that I plan to use next year, I wonder if those will end up being standouts. I have a feeling they will, but we will see. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again next time. Bye.